Hey guys, how's it going? So I have breaking Second Amendment news, and this time it's actually good news. The United States House of Representatives has passed House Joint Resolution 44, and this is to stop the ATF from implementing this tyrannical and unconstitutional pistol brace, the one that could make up to 40 million people, future felons of America. Yeah, that one. So, how did this happen? And what's the implications? I'll go over both of those in just a second here. But it was basically a party line vote, except for it was 219 to 210. We needed 218 for this resolution to pass the House. Two Republicans went over with the Democrats and voted no. I don't know who they are yet, but I'll make a community post here on YouTube when I get those names. But, surprisingly enough, two Democrats came over and voted yes for this resolution to condemn the ATF and to defend the Second Amendment. So that's pretty cool, and I'll be reporting on who those two were as well. So Representative Clyde had put forth this resolution. It had passed through House Committee, and this was a while ago, but it started to stall. See, the majority leadership, McCarthy, Scalise, seemed to have cold feet on this, or they weren't willing to put it forth. They were even doing some negotiating, as reported by Representative Clyde, with other votes on whether this resolution would go forth. Now, that's where that's where the American people came in and said, no, enough's enough. The GOA put together this 2A Action Alliance, and me, as well as a bunch of my colleagues, content creators, we all signed this letter and sent it straight to House leadership, and I was proud to put my name on that and let them know that, hey, on behalf of all of my viewers, this is where we stand. And then all of you guys came in, just literally blowing up the congressional phone lines. And this is an instance where you getting involved actually does make a difference. I always talk about evil prevails when good men do nothing, and a lot of you stepped up and actually got them and forced them to take a recorded roll call vote on the floor. Now look, this is a joint resolution. It did pass the House, which now means it is going to the United States Senate. Whereas sometimes if they invoke a filibuster, you need a higher threshold of votes. They can't do that with this one. So this will be going to the Senate, and it will only need 51 votes to pass. That might be a tall order with the narrow Democrat-controlled Senate. However, if we look at this House vote, a couple Democrats did come over and vote with the Republicans. Of course, two Republicans did the opposite, so we'll have to see where the rhinos may or may not be in the United States Senate. And then if it passes the Senate, it would go to current former Vice President Biden's desk. He's already made a public statement. He will not sign this. He will veto it. Hold on a minute. I know you guys are typing as fast as you can saying, so this means nothing. It's an instant loss. Not necessarily. There's a certain game at play here. And we have a third branch of government, which is the judicial system. We've already seen the Fifth Circuit Court opine on this and say, well, preliminary injunction, meaning they think based on the facts of this case and the irreparable harm, it's more likely this ban's going to get overturned than not. That's essentially what that means when they put in an injunction like this. And many, many people, as reported, are covered by this injunction. Now, as this keeps going up through the court system, which it undoubtedly will, it's probably going to arrive at the Supreme Court of the United States. And they're going to look at a bunch of different factors, namely the Constitution, which says shall not be infringed. But they're also known to look at things like public opinion and where the Congress is at on this, because the Constitution does say Congress makes law. Of course, they can only make constitutional laws, and very early Supreme Court precedent, Marbury v. Madison, says any law or all laws repugnant to the Constitution are void. But with that said, the House passing this, it'll be great if the Senate passes it too, but even if it only passes in the House, which it just did, this is going to weigh heavily in our favor as this goes through the court process. It's also weighing heavily in our favor in the court of public opinion, and it's letting people like you guys know that although there's a lot of naysayers that say you don't matter, you can't accomplish anything, sometimes there's a time for choosing in this country, and the American people have to go over the heads of their elected public servants and demand of them, this has to be done. And this wasn't easy, guys. The Republican leadership wanted to sweep this under the rug due to this 2A Action Alliance. And that is a part of this. As well as mainly, though, who I'm going to give most of the credit to is just all of us that called. All of you who called the reps relentlessly, emailed and said, you will get this put forward no matter what. That's what you guys promised to do if you got the majority. You promised you'd be pro-Second Amendment. Now we're going to hold your feet to the fire and literally just demand that you do it, and we won't accept no for an answer. And that's what just happened. 219 to 210, the United States House of Representatives has disavowed and passed a resolution that would nullify this unconstitutional and draconian braced pistol ban rule by the ATF. It's going to head to the Senate, so we're going to have to put the pressure on the Senate. The former vice president will veto it, but again, it's part of the game with the courts as it goes up through the Circuit Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. This is going to be in our favor big time. And then the Court of Public Opinion, which ultimately, if enough people get involved, matters more than anything else. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and have a good one.